Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's nice. Do you want me to jump out then?
Well, you can stick around for the build-up if you really want.
No, I'll leave you to it, but good luck.
Sound.
But he's going with it. In a bit.
Thanks, Al.
Bye, Dad!
Give my love to Ray.
Do you want me to jump out then? No, I'll leave you to it. Good luck.
Yep, sound check's working.
Bye, Dad!
One, two, 1, 2. Hang in. Yep. I'm ready to go when you are, sir.
Go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and whatever you identify as, in 2024, it is another watch along with myself. It's world famous Scunny Dam and the world famous Wolfie, or Dylan Hodgetts, as he's known. Dylan, how are we doing tonight, Mush?
Yeah, all good, man.
Oh, gonna start off this stream just by sort of a bit breaking news, let's just say, with the suspension of Lee Complin for a season and a half after obviously failing a drugs test at Berwick last month. I believe he's also been given a £2,000 fine and has to provide hair samples. So, yeah, interesting times at Glasgow.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I think, you know, the continuity with the suspensions and the fines and stuff is relatively consistent. It's one of them. Do you just want to quickly read out the statement on the SCB website regarding this, and then we'll crack on building up tonight?
You give me a moment to find it. Here we go. So, the official SCB statement follows. On Wednesday, the 15th of May 2024, following the breach of anti-doping regulations, the Speedway Control Board has held a disciplinary hearing for Mr. Lee Complin. The hearing took place at the ACU House in Rugby. Mr. Complin attended the hearing and pleaded not guilty to the charge of 017.2 breach of rules, point F, any proceedings or acts prejudicial to the interest of the sport, and K, the presence of a prohibited substance or its metabolicals or markers in the body. After hearing all the evidence provided regarding the test taken at Berwick Speedway on April 6, 2024, subsequently the confirmation of the test results from the company that they did it with, the disciplinary panel has found Mr. Complin guilty of the two charges as per above. Having considered all the mitigation prior to sentencing, the disciplinary panel has imposed the following penalties. As of the 6th of April 2024, suspension of both his ACU licence and SCB registration for a period of 20 months. To pay the cost of the value of £2,000, this is to be paid over the 20-month period, and prior to applying for his licence and registration for the 2026 season, produce a segmented hair test for a period of 3 months.
Tonight looks a little bit more normal. They've had a lot more sunshine, better weather.
Mr. Complin's Championship Club Glasgow's facility for his absence has been extended by 14 days and will end on the 30th of May 2024.
Nice long statement.
No, I don't think I've ever done that much reading in my life.
So, yeah, that's that. Now we'll turn our attentions to tonight, but the little bit of breaking news there, Lee Complin has been banned until 2026.
Big meeting tonight in the championship. It's the Oxford Cheetahs versus the Redcar Bears. Two teams you could potentially say haven't quite reached their full potential yet.
Yeah, definitely. Oxford started the season with an embarrassing, by their standard, defeat at Poole, and Redcar have been very inconsistent so far. Two patched up teams tonight as well, actually.
Yeah, very much so. With had replacement for Oxford and two guests, I believe, for the Bears. So we'll go down the lineup still if you want to go down the.
I'll do the away
the Cheetahs.
team. You can do the home teams.
Okay. So riding for the home team, the Monarch Oxford Cheetahs. Their number one, as always, is Mr. Samuel Masters. Cameron Eaps rides at number 2. Going at number 3 is rider replacement for the injured Henry Atkins. The Jet Jordan Jenkins rides at number 4. Scott Nichols goes at number 5. At number 6 is Ashton Bowden. Luke Colleen rides at number 7, and they have named a number 8 tonight in Jason Garrett.
Who's your man to watch for the Cheetahs tonight?
I'm going to go for Luke Colleen. He's been riding really well for Oxford this year, and he's been pulling some scouts, especially around the Oxford circuit. So, I think he's in for a massive night tonight.
I'm going to say Jordan Jenkins. I think he's started to find a little bit more form now, and he's going really well. I think this meeting lends itself to him, picking up and smashing in a few points, and I think it'll be a real turning point for him tonight. Looking at the Redcar Agelia Bears, 2 guests for them this evening, but they're led at number 1 by Charles Wright. Jonas Knudsen rides at number 2. It's Connor Bailey at number 3. Plymouth's Dan Thompson guests at number 4 for the injured Jason Edwards. Ben Barker was initially lined up to guest at number 5 tonight, but crashed at Plymouth last night and is now replaced by Scunthorpe's Michael Palm-Toft. Number 6, Jake Mulford, and Ben Trigger rides at number 7. Palmer, your man to watch for Redcar.
Oh, I believe my man to watch for the Redcar Bears is going to be Dan Thompson. He's certainly a man in very good form at the moment. I think he was one of the top scorers for Plymouth last night. So I think Dan Thompson's got to be the man to watch.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you've just said. I think Dan Thompson's having the best season he's ever had. I think he's really in the form in both leagues at the moment. Started off quite tough last night at Plymouth, but finished on, I think it was paid 10 in the end. So yeah, I'm going to go for Dan Thompson as well.
I can't believe we've just agreed on something.
It's shocking, isn't
it? It certainly doesn't happen that that often. And that looks like Chris Harris on the track walk there.
With Mr. Bartek Blair.
Big up Bartek Blair. So much better than that Polish Bartek that's been winning some trophy for the past 5 years.
A bit more of a...
Even when he's not riding, you can't get rid of Bomber, can you?
Oh, you can't. It's weird, but
I don't like the fact that this is buffering.
Right. I've got a slight idea here, Mr. Dill.
What's that then?
You watch your stream on your, and I watch mine on mine, and we'll just commentate together on it that way. It just saves all the buffering and everything, doesn't it?
If you want to do it that way, I'm fine with that.
I'm hoping it'll like work.
I'm hoping it'll sync up. We do have a special guest joining us after as well once he gets in.
Yes, we do. We do have a special guest lined up.
So I'm going to have to leave the screen share on anyway, so that he can watch along with us on here.
So yeah, who's the special guest again, sir?
Callum Steele, Redcar Bears fan. We'll be getting his reaction on every track grade tonight. He'll be there will be a bit of bias from him with him being a Redcar fan. So that's to be expected, but he'll be giving us his honest thoughts of how the meeting's going. And yeah, we also have Poole versus Workington tonight as well, the other meeting going on, so we'll be keeping up to date with that one.
We will, and also tonight during this the broadcast from BSN, now we're doing a Championship Knockout Cup Semi Final Draw, which obviously we will keep you posted up with as well, because it's going to be interesting. You know, the decider to find out the last qualifier for the finals will be at Scunthorpe on Friday, as they look to overcome an 18-point deficit against the Berwick Bandits, who winners of that will join Poole, Redcar and Oxford in the semi-finals.
And this season's been a very good start for Scunthorpe, actually, as has it Redcar. So it's more than possible at the Eddie Wright Raceway. Scunthorpe have been nigh on unbeatable at home this season. Do you honestly believe that deficit can be overcome, or do you think it's just a step too far?
With no disrespect to the Scunthorpe lads, I think it's one step too far, and the dream of doing back-to-back knockouts is very much under threat. Having a home meeting last week helped the boys out a bit after not been there for so long. But yeah, I think 18 points is a lot to claw back against a team that are quite underrated in the league. I reckon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who the guest is for Lewis Kerr. I don't know if that's been announced or not yet. But I
doubt it.
Yeah, it's probably just a step too far, I think, for Scunny. But competitive practice. I think you were saying to me earlier on that they hadn't been at home for 5 weeks or something like that until last week. So just a chance to get dialed in again. Get Nathan Ablett, who's now back from injury, a few laps as well at home, and see how he gets on.
Yeah, 100%. And it's I've got the BSN series semi-finals as well, so it's something that Scunthorpe have progressed in for another season. Hopefully we can go at least one step better. It would be brilliant.
Starts look very grippy on this track here tonight. All the riders just having a little kick around at the moment. Can't be a speedway meeting. The sun's out.
Oh, you're right. I'm gonna have to go with yours. Mine's a little bit ahead of yours.
It should be working
so
okay now, I hope. I think it's settled down a little bit now.
I think it's just one of them. It's just going a little bit slower than normal, but we can run with it. And right. There is the Redcar number 7, Ben Trigger, who's been constantly progressing throughout this year as Ben.
That's a nice image of the sky.
At the most of it, because it'll be a big grey dark cloud in about 10 minutes.
I can't see any clouds around. This isn't right. This can't be happening.
No, it can't. It's British Speedway. We're meant to have rain and horrible weather and in the cold, not nice sunshine, t-shirt and shorts.
There is a programme as well that Palmer's going to be filling in, which also lets us keep an eye on the gate stats, so we'll keep up with those through the meeting as well.
That is very, very true, and I'll keep the tube on the old laptop. Just if any of you guys want to come in the comments, we can have a chinwag in the comments with lovely people. Shout out to all one person, which is probably me, watching on the YouTube. The Monarch Oxford Cheetahs introduced to their adoring supporters.
Again, with us watching this on mute because of copyright reasons, we don't know who's won the toss yet, but we'll find out during the course of time, no doubt. Palmer,
yeah, 100%. I think.
Do you want to tell us who can take the rider replacement rides to cover for Henry Atkins tonight?
Let me just have a little butchers then. So I do believe Atkins rides can be covered by Cameron Heaps, Ashton Bowden, Luke Colleen and Jason Garrett.
It's an interesting one as well. Cameron Heaps has really kicked on this season, and he's doing some good things around Oxford in particular. So that's a positive. And if at least one of Luke Killeen and Ashton Bowden are in good form, then they could chip in a few points as well. Like you said at the start, Luke Killeen's really dialed himself in this season around here so far.
He really has, and I think. This meeting could be very, very close. Obviously, we all know Redcar's not had the greatest start to the season. Neither has Oxford.
I think the stream's working just about spot on now. I think it was just initially slow with the look around the track. It seems to be okay now.
Yeah, it's working this end, so we'll keep going along with it. No one's joining in the chat. We've still only got one viewer.
I'll be
So
honest,
hello,
it's just
me.
nice to be back doing one of these after, just over a week since the last one. Obviously, you've been to another country, watched a Grand Prix, and flew back from another country in that time.
Yeah, it's mad. Exactly a week ago today, I was at the Hotel of Horrors. The Undertaker didn't jump out of the wardrobe. Very pleasing. But yeah, no, great time over in Poland, and can't wait to go and do it all again next year for a little bit longer.
While we've got a minute, do you want to quickly run us down the lineups of the Poland Workington meeting that we'll be covering, just to fill 30 seconds?
I certainly, as soon as I find it, sir, I will do that just for you. Another little bit of breaking news that we found out just before we went live on air, to the surprise of literally nobody on this planet Earth. Kings Lynn have called off their meeting with Sheffield because they've blamed it on the forecast, even though looking at this, there's no rain forecast whatsoever. So up the stars.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Kings Lynn calling off again, especially while they're being investigated for last week's postponement.
Very much so. But in the other Cab Direct Championship meeting then that we have tonight, the Pool Pirates take on the Workington Comets from Cumbria. And Pool line up like this. Richard Lawson rides at number 1, partnered by Tobias Thompson at number 2. Tom Brennan goes at number 3. Zach Cook at number 4. Ben Cook at number 5. Sam Hagen goes at number 6. And Max Perry rides at number 7. For the Workington Comets, Craig Cook rides at number 1. Zisk goes at number 2. Andy Vulas goes at number 3. Klaus Vissing goes at number 4. Troy Batchelor rides at 5. Selena Liebman rides at number 6. And Sam McGurk rides at number 7.
All the cooks in one meeting, Zach, Ben and Craig, all at one place at one time.
Many cooks in the kitchen there, sir, I believe.
Heat 1 now coming to tapes with Redcar off 1 and 3 in heat number 1. Full lineup of heat 1. Going off the inside gate in yellow for the Bears, Jonas Knudsen. Gate 2 in blue is Cameron Heaps. Gate 3 in white is the Redcar skipper Charles Wright. And off the outside in red is Sam Masters.
Yeah, this could be obviously Sam Masters knows this Sandy Lane circuit like the back of his hand, and Wright is riding for the Spires, the same circuit. Who on earth called them the Spires? So yeah, a very, very interesting gates 2, 3 and 4 in this one, and the start marshal now bringing these to tips. So it's Knudsen, Heaps, Wright and Masters. Away we go. A very, very decent start there actually for both the Oxford boys as they come out of the second bend on a 5-1. And Jonas Knudsen struggling a little bit, but Sam Masters holds a very hefty lead now as Cameron Heaps comes under a bit of pressure from Charles Wright in the second lap, and Wright is gone the right lines, but Cameron Heaps riding a very good ride here to defend his second position. But Wright, he tends to go up the inside there. Did both wheels go over the white line? I'm not too sure about that, but Sam Masters is having the lead and doing what he normally does around the Oxford circuit, winning races at Cab Direct Championship level for fun. It's a great ride from Cameron Heaps. Has got one lap left to go then to keep Charles Wright at bay. And it's going to be a big 5-1 to the Oxford Cheetahs. Red, blue, white, passing the flag. So a 5-1 to start.
I'd be very interested to see Charles Wright's exit off turn 4 on the second lap. I also thought both his wheels went over the white line.
Good minds think alike.
I'd be interested to see that back again. If they didn't, it was very, very close.
It was very close.
Charles Wright was definitely faster than Heaps, but got frustrated behind him. So the result of heat number 1, it was a win for the rider in red, Sam Masters. Second in blue, Cameron Heaps, and third in white, Charles Wright. 5 to the Oxford Cheetahs, 1 to the Redcar Bears. Jonas Knudsen, not really in that.
Oh, I think it's kind of safe to say Jonas Knudsen's struggled a little bit while he's been at Redcar this year. He obviously signed when Thomas Jorgensen ruled himself out. What a start from Sam Masters.
And the one takeaway from all of that, it's very dusty already.
British Speedway, innit?
This is the bend I'd be curious to see Charles Wright. He's very close to this. We ain't going to get anything from this angle, are we? Nah, he wasn't.
Not a lot.
Heat number 2 now coming to the tapes, and this is the race where the old saying goes, reserves win meetings.
That they can, and obviously my rider to watch is in this one, and yeah,
So
take it away, Mr. Dill.
The full lineup of heat number 2, riding off the inside gate in red for the Cheetahs is Ashton Bowden. Gate 2 in white for the Redcar Bears is Jake Mulford. Gate 3 in blue, Luke Killeen. And off the outside in yellow, your friend and mine, Ben Trigger.
Pick up Triggs.
Hopefully Luke Killeen has still got some confidence. He had a bit of a tough night on Monday night on Eurosport, guesting for Sheffield. And there were some comments made after by the Sheffield team manager that perhaps didn't quite set well with us. And that race has already been run.
It appears that we might have missed that one.
Yeah, we'll wait for the... Oh, God. This isn't having the best of days, is it?
Would you like me to try and screen share for you?
We'll give it one more crack and then see what happens. But that was definitely a win for the rider in white, Jake Mulford.
Jake Mulford takes a win in heat number 2. Don't really know what happened, but the two Oxford boys come second and third.
So the result of that one, it was a win for the rider in white, Jake Mulford. Second in blue, Luke Killeen, and third in red, Ashton Bowden. Points divided 3 apiece takes the Cheetahs onto 8 points and the Bears onto 4. We can have a replay of it now. It was pretty much all done from the start.
Not a lot happened then, no?
Although Killeen got round Mulford on the first bend. Killeen took the early lead.
That's why he was my man to watch.
And you'd have got long odds on Killeen being passed from this point as well. To be honest, he was quite clear out in front.
Oh, 100%, and you know, fair play to Jake Mulford there for producing a good get past Mr. New Zealander with really long hair.
So the lineup for Heat 3, hopefully we'll get to watch this one. The lineup going off the inside gate in white is Connor Bailey. Gate 2 in blue is my man to watch, Jordan Jenkins. Gate 3 is our man to watch, Dan Thompson. And off the outside in red is the rider replacement, Jason Garrett, who we can't add a score to on our spreadsheet because we only have 7 spots.
Don't worry, I can sort it. Jason Garrett. Right, there we go. I've sorted it.
Have you put him in the team manager's spot?
It's almost like you watched me do it.
Conor Bailey asking for the
So,
green light to be shone or waving at the referee, one of the two.
Or knew we was on and wanted to wave at us because we're good at talking.
What a fella.
So the boys now just getting themselves ready then for heat number 3. Start Marshall raises his arms. Looks like for a kebab, and the tapes have risen, and away we go. It's a brilliant start there from Dan Thompson in helmet, and he's joined by Conor Bailey there in the white helmet colour. So it's the Redcar Bears on a 5-1, but now Jordan Jenkins looking to come round the outside of Conor Bailey, and he's made light work of Conor Bailey. So now the Bears on a 4-2. Dan Thompson, the Redcar guest. It was really impressive here when Plymouth come a couple of weeks ago. Actually, we covered that one, I do believe. Still has the lead, but being put under immense pressure from Jordan Jenkins. Can Dan Thompson keep this run going? Looking to go around the outside now. Thompson goes really, really wide. He nearly ends up in Swindon. He goes that wide. Jenkins keeping Thompson honest. So at the moment, as we have, I believe, 1 lap left to go then, and Dan Thompson doing Dan Thompson things of 2024. He's had a really good start to the season and proving why he's doing really well. But this is going to be a 4-2 to the Redcar Regalia Bears to please our guest, Mr. Callum Steele, as it is a win for Dan Thompson and Jordan Jenkins second, and the other Redcar rider in third.
Yeah, it was a really good gate from both the Bears riders then actually. Jordan Jenkins threw it round the outside of bend 3 and got round Conor Bailey coming off bend 4. Did set after Dan Thompson, but at this early stage it's all on one line. So it was a win for the rider in yellow, the guest Dan Thompson. Second in blue, Jordan Jenkins, and third in white, Conor Bailey. Pulls another couple of points back for the Bears, and it's now the Cheetahs 10, the Bears 8. Dan Thompson made a beautiful gate there.
Did, and he's having a really good season, to be fair.
Initially, Conor Bailey's there, just a little bit tentative going into bend 3, probably a little bit too close to the inside line. Jenkins says thank you very much and goes straight around the outside of him.
And to be fair to Jordan, though, he kept Dan Thompson really honest all race long. Yeah, fair play to Dan. He rode a really, really good race there. And like I said, though, during the race, when we covered Oxford versus Plymouth earlier in the season, Dan Thompson was really impressive then. So, fair play to Dan. Heat number 4 comes up next.
The legend Scotty Nichols coming out off the outside gate. There's your man from Scunthorpe in his Scunthorpe Kevlars, Michael Palmtoft.
It's been so long since I've seen a pair of Scunthorpe Kevlars.
So the lineup for heat number 4, going off the inside gate in yellow, is Ben Trigger. Gate 2 in blue is Luke Killeen. Gate 3 in white is the guest Michael Palmtoft, and off the outside in red, Scotty Nichols.
Yeah, you'd expect Nichols and Palmtoft to have a decent battle, but you can't discount Luke Killeen as well, because obviously I've picked him out as a man to watch, and he was quite unlucky in heat 2 just to get the second place, and could definitely spring a surprise or two.
Palmtoft seems to be having a season of 2 halves almost. He's doing really well for Scunthorpe in the Championship, but not quite replicating that in the Premiership for Kings Lynn, although it does help when they actually run their meetings.
Do you mean it helps when Kings Lynn run their meetings?
Well,
yeah, it's a little bit farcical down in Norfolk. As the riders now coming to the tapes as the start marshal goes back for another kebab. Riders look at the magnets, then the tapes rise. It's a really good start there from Michael Palmtoft and Ben Trigger. Bears leading at the moment on a 5-1. But it's not very often you see Scotty Nichols at the back with Luke Killeen in the third place. Palmtoft goes a little bit wide there, and Palmtoft's building up quite a lead at the moment. Ben Trigger in second, but he's got both the Oxford Cheetahs now all over his tail. But Palmtoft, really pleasing performance this from a Scotty perspective. It shows that he can still ride the bike really well as they go into the third lap. Palmtoft's got one hell of a lead. Trigger doing really well to keep the Cheetahs behind him in the second place. I think Luke Colleen's now trailed off a bit, and the big battle is between Ben Trigger and Scott Nichols. And Trigger goes wide. Can Scotty cut up the inside? Not quite. It's going to be a good last lap this though. And Nichols trying everything to get up the inside of Ben Trigger, but Ben Trigger's been like a pesky little bird that's asked for a bit of bread in your garden. And a great ride there from Ben Trigger to just hold that second place.
I think he's just held on to that. That was very close over the line though. The view that BSN cut to doesn't help us in any way.
Fair play to Ben Trigger there.
And if Ben did hold on to that, that's they're showing us, oh, here we go, this is the angle we need. Scotty just opting to go wide, probably spent one lap too many behind his teammate. And yeah, Trigger's just held on for
Trigger
that.
Just.
About half a wheel in that. Track looks very dusty already.
It's British Speedway in the sun. It doesn't happen often.
So the result of heat number 4, it was a win for the rider in white, Malcolm Palmtoft. Second in yellow, brilliant ride by Ben Trigger, and third in red, Scott Nichols. Turns the tyre around and the Redcar Bears take the lead for the first time tonight. It's 11 points to the Cheetahs, 13 to the Bears.
It is, and it's been a really decent meeting so far after all 4 heats.
Is Callum with us?
It looks like he may be in the laboratory.
I'm here.
Cal!
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are we doing all right?
Yeah, we're all good. I presume you're very happy after these first 4 races. Thoughts on the first 4 heats of this meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really be critical about the Redcar lads for the first 4 heats. Obviously, I'm sure Charles will be a bit frustrated with Heat 1. He just seemed to not be able to make that gate. He was all over Heaps, but Heaps was, when you've got Heaps in front, he knows how to move the bike to block off, and he just couldn't seem to get round. Dan Thompson, as you said, when he rode for Plymouth, and when he rode for Plymouth a couple of weeks ago, he was absolutely flying then, and it's good to see that he's brought that form with him tonight as well, and his gating was spot on. And Tofty, I'd like, before, when I've seen about him racing, when I'd seen that he was racing for us tonight, I was obviously naturally very pleased, because he was a rider I enjoyed watching for Redcar during his time with us. But at the same time, he hadn't actually ridden Oxford that often. I know when he was at Plymouth in 2022, he suffered an injury, and then last year, I think, was his first time at the place, and got 9th and 5, which was an all-right heat leader performance. But to see him make the gate he did, and especially to see him make the gate he did, was spot on. So hopefully we'll see more of the same as the night goes on.
And were you expecting to be in this position this early on, especially after the Oxford 5-1 in the opener? Your team responded very well with a 3-all and then a 4-2 and a 5-1. Were you expecting this after 4 heats, or was it a pleasant surprise?
It was definitely a pleasant surprise when, like, you see a number 1 that you've got like Charles White going out, and then having a rough first race. You're kind of on your toes a little bit, thinking, "Oh, are we going to be in for a long night?" But as you say, the rest of the boys responded brilliantly to that. Jake Mulford. Obviously, as a biased Redcar fan, I'd probably say he's. I'm pleased to have him back because he looked like he was showing great form at the end during last season before his injury, and I do think he's probably one of the stronger reserves in the league. So to be able to see him go to another place and beat two reserves who are definitely on form was great. And yeah, overall, I'm happy. I can't criticise them that much at the moment.
And as we look at the screen at the moment, Jason Edwards talking to Greg Blair. Big crash for Edwards over the weekend, and he's still stood here smiling.
I know I don't think. I think he's one of them people where you could tell him the worst news ever, and he'd still have a smile on his face, and he'd see the lighter side of of something. I've seen some of the pictures from that crash. It was definitely a heavy one, and I mean he managed to still get out in Heat 14 and get quite an important win for us against Berwick. Obviously, he's one of the riders this season that he's definitely hit some form and he's got going really well. So obviously losing him is a massive blow, but at the same time we seem to have managed to get a guest who's in just as much form as Jason Edwards. So hopefully what Dan Thompson can bring to the table would be exactly what Edwards would usually, or if not a little bit more.
Cal, thanks for joining us, and we'll bring you back in at the next track grade and see if it's still the same position for the Bears.
Fingers crossed.
Well, we've got a moment.
So, yeah,
Palmer, do
great.
you want to bring us the score from Poole?
I certainly can. It was great to hear from a good friend of ours as well in Callum Steele, obviously a great pal of both of us, and it's great that he's involved with us tonight. So, result for a poll at the moment, it is the Poole Pirates 5, Wilkinson Comets 1. Heat 2 was stopped after a collision with Max Perry and Sam McGurk, and it sounds like Max Perry's being excluded from Heat number 2. Heat number 1 was a win for Tobias Thompson, Richard Lawson in second, and Tate Zisk in third.
Craig Cook at the back. That's not happened a lot this season, to be fair.
It hasn't. You know, fair play to Cookie. You know, he's certainly proved a lot of his haters wrong this season. And you know, dare to say myself being one of them. Kind of wrote Workington off when we heard that I had Cookie and Batch after the past couple of years that they've both had. But yeah, it's good to see Cookie getting back to his best.
And it shows the swings and roundabouts of Speedway sort of as well. You know, he went through the card from 4 rides at Plymouth last night, and then he's run a last in his first race at Poole tonight.
Yeah, but I think, and this is no disrespect to Plymouth. Plymouth is a slightly easier track to do than Poole, like as an away rider, because you know Poole always pull out all the stops to get the exact riders and the exact that they want, whereas obviously someone like Plymouth, who probably haven't got all kind of budget, you would expect a slightly easier ride down there.
And a little bit longer on the old track grade tonight after Heat 4. Hopefully putting a bit of water down. It was a very dusty first 4 races, and we can say that riding in red in Heat number 5 is Luke Killeen.
Big up Luke in Heat 5.
We only know that because he
Probably
stood looking over the fence, seeing what's happening with the red helmet colour on.
That is very true.
And Speedway is really the only sport where you can have the two teams like this literally stood about 2 feet apart watching the track work being done, just mingling with each other. You know, it really is the easily family friendly sport where you feel safe taking your kids to.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and don't make our viewers a little bit jealous in a way, but like when myself and a pal of mine went up to Poland for the Grand Prix, you know, in our section we was the only two British people in a section full of Polish people, and you know there was all really lovely people, and you wouldn't get that sort of mingling in any other sport.
Looks like they are putting a little bit of water down now. I think it's needed. The shock of the first 4 races, though, Scott Nichols being beaten, especially with all due respect to Ben Trigger by you know, Ben, who finished last in Heat 2.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's the likes of Righty as well in Heat 1. You don't expect him to go out and get a 3rd place, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of the meeting. Obviously, heat number 4 will be a massive confidence boosting ride for Trigger there as well. Getting the better of Scotty Nichols, who's no beat around Sandy Lane.
And some of these riders have got some travelling to do. Dan Thompson last night at Plymouth, tonight at Oxford, tomorrow down at Ipswich.
A lot of travelling.
That's probably harder than the actual racing, darest we say.
Quite possibly, sir.
Riders coming out onto track for heat number 5. I'm not updating the gate stat spreadsheet just because of the issues we had at the start. At the moment, while the stream's playing ball, I don't want to touch it and potentially screw it up. So we're just leaving that be.
Yeah, it's one of them. Like I'm filling a paper, the electronic program, so I'm sure I can get the calculator out and do some maths.
So the lineup for heat number 5, taking the rider replacement ride off gate number 1 in red, is Luke Killeen. Gate 2 in yellow, Jonas Knudsen. Gate 3 in blue, Jordan Jenkins, and off the outside in white is Charles Wright. And on paper, based off the scores from the first block of races, you've got to say that Oxford are favourites off of those, but you know, you can't write Charles Wright out.
Oh, you definitely can't write it out. And yeah, you know, you never know. This race could be the race. Jonas Knudsen comes to the party. You just never know.
We've spoken to bloody soon.
We're just gonna refresh the stream, and they're coming round. We've got a little bit more buffering, but we do sincerely apologise for this, guys. But we've got, it looks like Charles Wright has won that one, so we've kind of missed the race. It was Righty, red, blue, and then, well...
The good old internet issues, eh? 4 points for Charles Wright in that one. That's impressive. So the result of
I guess
the result of heat number 5, it was a win for the rider in white, Charles Wright. Second in red, Luke Killeen, and third in blue, Jordan Jenkins. Jonas Knudsen again out the back. Replay of the race coming up now. Knudsen got a lot of lift off gate number 2 there.
With like I don't want to sound disrespectful here, but with like Luke Jonas Knudsen, sorry, not scoring in a race like that where he potentially should have scored at least a point, maybe 2. does this sort of make the Redcar promotion think about potential replacements happening at the Echo Arena?
It's been a very strange start to the season for Knudsen, hasn't it? He started in disappointing form, and then he had a couple of meetings where he scored really well, and we thought he'd turn the corner after moving to number 2, and he's just kind of gone a little bit backwards now. And as we watched the replay of heat number 5, Luke Killeen actually led for a couple of laps, and then Charles Wright's home track knowledge comes into full flow. So the lineup for heat number 6, riding off the inside gate in white, is Michael Palm-Toft, winner first time out. Gate number 2 in red is Sam Masters, winner first time out. Gate number 3 in white is Jake Mulford, winner first time out. And off the outside in blue, Cameron Heaps, paid win first time out.
Do you all have some form of paid win first time out there, Bush?
Yeah, there's something's got to give here.
Yeah, certainly. What does my nan want? She's texting me saying, yes, that's old. Yes, June, I agree. You're not the youngest lady in the town. But let's move on to the speedway. I've missed them Scunthorpe Kevlars. I haven't seen them for weeks. This is a treat for me, guys. Watching the stream.
Just like watching your own team in action, which is happening this coming Friday.
I mean, basically, I'm watching my B team, aren't I? Up the Bears and up the Cheetahs and all that, because being impartial on the D&D media stream this evening.
Michael Palm-Toft not impressed with Sam Masters being so close to gate number 1.
Tapes has risen in a way with great start again there though from Michael Palm-Toft, showing the championship why he's good, and a knife going through butter there up the inside of Tofty, so it's now and Cameron Heaps, where has he found that from? He goes around the outside of the lot, so it's gone from a 3-3 to a 5-1 to the Oxford boys. Tofty's not giving up just yet, but Cameron Heaps has the lead and he's pulling away from Sam Masters, who in turn is kind of pulling away from Michael Palm-Toft there. Jake Mulford struggling a little bit towards the rear of the field in this one. But it's the Oxford boys who made light work of Michael Palm-Toft, and it looked like they're about to take a 5-1. They've got 1 lap left to go. Then these boys just looking like they need to team ride each other home, because one mistake from either of them and little Tofty will be through. But we go around bends 3 and 4 then for the final time.
I think Cameron Heaps
That's
shut
a dead
off there
heat.
to let Sam Masters take the win on the line.
I think that's a dead heat.
Brilliant ride from the 2 Aussies. Cameron Heaps maybe putting himself in the conversations for a team spot in the Premiership.
Possibly. I mean, he's certainly been a lot more improved this season.
So
The wins heat 6.
It was in fact a winning bleed for Cameron Heaps. It looked like he tried to shut off to let Masters through, but that just shows the lead he had. Second in red was Sam Masters, and third in white Michael Palm-Toft gives the Cheetahs the lead again, 19 points to 17 after heat number 6. At the next track grade, we'll bring Callum back in, and this time you can ask him his thoughts after this block of heats. After, I presume, the next race. There's usually a track grade after heat 7.
Usually,
Good start there
yeah,
from
he never.
Palm-Toft, actually. Very good start from Palm-Toft, and he just kind of drifted up, but didn't commit enough to drift right out. So he kind of found himself stuck in no man's land.
Yeah, 100%. Tofty's known for his gating, and he can gate, and normally when he gets out in front, he's quite. The Oxford boys just went past him like a knife going through going through board.
Riders for heat number 7 now coming round. Another interesting tidbit for this this one is the opposition tonight. Dan Thompson for Redcar and Scotty Nichols for Oxford become teammates tomorrow night as Scott Nichols guests for Ipswich against Birmingham, who he signed for at the start of the season for a few weeks.
And will be covered by BSN, and that does mean that we'll be doing a watch along as well, and the graphic and all the details you need to know about that will be on in the morning.
Line-up for heat.
The reserve substitution in blue.
Capitalising on Luke Killeen's speed, the line-up for heat 7, Scott Nichols goes off gate 1 in red. Connor Bailey, gate 2 in white. Reserve substitution in gate 3 in blue. Luke Killeen replaces Ashton Bowden, and off the outside in yellow is Dan Thompson. Thompson, very impressive first time out. Scott Nichols will have a bee in his bonnet after being 5-1 in his first race.
Yeah, 100%. You know, after especially been so close as well to getting second on the line there. Yeah, going to be a very, very interesting race. You know, and obviously we go back to what happened last time when we played at Oxford and that heat 15 as well. Start Marshall getting the boys then into position for heat number 7. The tapes has risen. Away we go, and Scotty Nichols have made a brilliant gate there and he's drawing by his partner Luke Killeen. Now the rider in white, Connor Bailey, tries to go wide and he's come off there on the third bend. It's good to see that he's got straight back up. Will the referee have to stop this? I don't think the referee will, but the red lights are on, and I do sincerely apologise. That was Dan Thompson that went down there, not Connor Bailey.
I'd be interested to see that start again. It looked like Scott Nichols had a nibble off gate number 1. I think Thompson will go for that.
Possibly,
It just looked like he got a little bit out of shape, and you know, the age-old understanding that the rider in front has choice of their line. It looked like Thompson was almost looking for a cutback and got a little bit too close and just ran into the back of Scotty. I do think that Thompson goes, although Scott was out of shape as well. But was that a result of being ran into by Thompson? But I'd be interested to see that start again, because it looked to me like Scott moved.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be a very interesting decision for the referee. I'll give you a quick update from Pool while we can. The Pool Pirates on 17 points to the Workington Comets 7. It turns out that Selena Liebman is currently Pool's highest point scorer on 2. Workingtons. Sorry, I'm very new to this commentating job.
You almost sound a bit like that Scunny Dan fella that used to do Scunthorpe. It looks like Joe Thompson has been disqualified, taking his helmet off. Connor Bailey seeing if he's okay.
That's Dan Thompson, mush.
Dan Thompson, yeah. I'm doing my best Calvin Tatum impression.
You're doing a very, very good there. How far did the dirt want me to go in? So a quick run down the scores then. Sam Masters 5-1. Renape's 5-1. Henry Atkins rider replacement, so obviously hasn't scored. John Jenkins 3-1. Scott Nichols 1. Ashton Bowden 1+1. Luke Killeen 4. Jason Garrard 0 for the Redcar Bears. Charles Wright 4, Jonas Knudsen 0, Connor Bailey 1, Dan Thompson 3, Michael Pantoft 4, Jake Mulford 3, Ben Trigger 2 and 1. And they have no rider at number 8, and no rider has not scored a point.
Well, I never.
Just while they was up on the screen, thought I'd give you them.
It doesn't look like they're doing an early track grade here though. Riders are coming back round. Scott Nichols is still in. I'd have been interested to see that start again though. For me, Scott Nichols had a couple of jumps at that start.
He had a bit of a nibble, didn't he?
And Luke Killeen will be gutted with that because he'd got out in front.
100%.
So the revised lineup again of heat number 7. Scotty Nichols goes off gate 1. Connor Bailey, the lone Redcar rider, off gate 2. And the reserve substitute Luke Killeen off gate 3. No rider off gate 4 with Dan Thompson disqualified. Got it right this time.
Yeah. A little round of applause there for Dylan for naming the correct Thompson there. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe was in the pit. So as the start marshal walks away now then for the rerun of heat number 7, and Scott Nichols yet again makes a really good gate, and Luke Killeen joins him out in front. Now could Connor Bailey do anything for the Redcar Bears, or will the Redcar Bears be in tactical territory after this one? Scotty Nichols looking behind him just to see where Luke Killeen is as they enter the second lap, and this is looking like quite an easy 5-1 here for the Monarch Oxford Cheetahs, as it looks like Luke Killeen's about to take the lead actually now from Scott Nichols, but Nichols rides up the inside now, and Nichols just team riding with Luke Killeen to keep this one alive for the Cheetahs. Connor Bailey unfortunately struggling a little bit towards the rear of the fielders. I believe we've got one more lap to go. Yes, we have, and Luke Killeen has taken the lead from Scott Nichols there, and it's going to be a 5-1 either way, barring some form of as they come round the last couple of bends in heat 7, and that's a win for Luke Killeen and Scott Nichols in second.
And it's good to see that Monday night's result for Sheffield's not impacted on Luke Killeen's confidence flying tonight. There will be concerns from Redcar with Connor Bailey. He's not really doing a lot this season, and he was nowhere near the two Oxford riders then.
No, he wasn't. It's quite sad to see actually, because he was riding like a number 1 for the Bears last season.
So the result of heat number 7, it was a win for the rider in blue, Luke Killeen. Second in red, Scott Nichols, and third in white, Connor Bailey. Opens up the progressive scores to the Oxford Cheetahs 24, the Redcar Bears 18. Peter Schroet with a fist bump for Luke Killeen. And I think we're going to have some track grading, although I can't quite tell. It was all done from the start really then. Bailey never really got anywhere. It's always difficult when you're sandwiched between two opposition riders with no partner. And we're buffering again.
Would you like me to do the screen share, sir?
It depends if you're on your app or on the internet browser one. If it's the browser, no, because then I'll get pictures.
It's a browser one. I've come to the conclusion that the Discord app on this laptop is very much dead.
Luke Killeen
So
being
RIP in pieces.
Luke Killeen being interviewed by our pal Bartek in the pits. So I think now's a good time for us to bring Callum back in, and you can have the conversation with him after 7 heats.
So last time you spoke on here, Carl, the Bears were leading 13 points to 11, and the Cheetahs obviously bringing that back and put the Bears into tactical territory. Your thoughts on the racing so far?
Yeah. Obviously, I can't say I'm not disappointed. Obviously, after the start we made, I think when Scott Nichols makes a terrible start as he did, he's always going to be the type of, like as Dylan said, like someone who's going to be looking for blood. He's not going to take that poor gate lightly, so he definitely corrected that in Heat 7. Colleen, I completely agree with you in terms of him being a rider to watch. He's a guy who's he knows how, he's definitely learned how to ride the track well over his time with the Chargers and with the Cheetahs now. So it's definitely, the track's definitely suiting him tonight, and he's just got a lot of speed. And unfortunately, there's just a few of the Redcar lads who just don't seem to be getting to grips much of the track as it is right now. It was gutting about Tofty. He made a good gate, but then he seemed to just slow. He seemed to just end up slowing down. And Heaps, if you give him that outside line, he's just going to exploit you. And once he found that outside dirt and he went round Tofty, there was no stopping him after that.
And obviously, being a Redcar supporter that you are, I have to ask you this: the form of certain riders in the team. I'm not going to name names because there's multiple. Could you see potential changes happening up at Middlesbrough?
I think I think obviously I'm not going to be one to sort of publicly a bit like what Simon Stead said before, slating Luke Lee, which was very harsh on his part, especially considering he's the GB team manager and it's a rider that's a GB upcoming star. For me, I think changes are going to have to be made to change our season around, because we just seem, I think we're just lacking a bit of an engine department. Like you see teams like Poole, who've got a solid 3 with Richard Lawson, Brennan and Ben Cook, Workington with Craig Cook, Troy Batchelor and Klaus Rissin. We have a good number 1. We had a good heat leader in Danny King, but he seems to have struggled at the start of the season. However, we've built a very young team, and there's no one at the moment who seems to be stepping up to that third heat leader position. And I think that is very much something that might be making us struggle a little bit. We might need like that third experienced head to support the younger lads that we do have, and that could hopefully change our fortunes around. Obviously, I think from listening to interviews, they seem to be actively looking, because I think the Redcar promotion themselves, they'll be very disappointed in the situation they are in, and they'll definitely be wanting to they'll definitely be, if they can find a rider that can definitely improve the team, they'll definitely be going straight to them.
Yeah, 100%. And you kind of answered my next question actually in that one answer there, because obviously the Bears signed Jorgensen for this season, but unfortunately ruled out. Would Thomas have made much of a difference to the team that you've got now, do you reckon?
I think he would. I think he's definitely got that championship experience. Redcar is a track that he loves to race on, and he actively does really well on there. And like obviously, from his days at Scunthorpe, he likes to race, and he'd be putting in 100% every meeting. And he's obviously got his experience from riding in the Premiership and riding in Denmark. So there'll definitely be a lot of stuff that he can pass on to the likes of Bailey, Edwards and Mulford and Trigger. Obviously, I didn't include Knudsen in that purely because it wasn't him that was initially in the team. That's who they'd signed to place him. But yeah, Jorgensen, I think, definitely would have filled for that void, and it's obviously been a gutting rider for us to lose before tapes even went up.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, I do hope that the Bears' fortunes can improve over the course of the year because, you know, as anybody that knows me, I love going up the Redcar, and the people up there, apart from one or two, are very, very friendly people. And yeah, I'd like to hope that we can meet in the quarterfinals of the Knock Up again.
Yeah, has the what do you know when? I know they're doing it during this meeting. Are they doing it like during 10? Do you think, or?
I would imagine whenever Oxford decide to have an interval. But it's like I said to Dylan at the start of the meeting. You know, it's going to be a big ask for Scunthorpe to get past Berwick.
Yeah, 100%. They definitely they definitely brought the away game at their place, didn't they? And yeah, they've got some riders who'll definitely ride Scunny well. I mean, Hodder's had plenty of amateur meetings at your place, hasn't he? And I think Daniel Hume usually does all right for you for the teams he's been up against. From when he's been an away rider, so they could push you quite far in the meeting.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting meeting on Friday night. But we're watching a meeting down south, so I'll give you an update from even further down south. It is the Poole Pirates on 20 points to the Workington Comets 10. As the water bowser just goes round and round. While we are also on here, we as Speedway fans are in mourning at the moment as well, due to what Eurosport has done to not show the Grand Prix on their platform on Saturday. It is with great sadness to have to say that Speedway Friends is now no longer a Facebook group, and we no longer have anywhere to go down and have a meltdown. So just a quick 10 seconds of silence in memory of Speedway Friends.
And that's enough of that.
R.I.P. Speedway Friends.
Again, thanks to Cal for popping in for a chinwag between the races. I'm sure we'll get him back on at the interval for first-hand reaction to the Knockout Cup Semi Final Draw for Redcar.
Yes. Whenever the draw takes place, of course.
Looks like there's a reserve switch in blue in heat number 8. That looks like Ashton Bowden in the blue helmet colour.
That it does.
Big race for Knudsen here, you feel. Did not really look competitive at all tonight yet.
No. And I think, you know, and I don't mean this with any form of disrespect at the moment, but you know, how long is it until, you know, you feel as though Knudson's riding for his job?
Yeah, I mean, you'd normally say this is a race that the number 2s and the number 7s or number 6 in Oxford's case with the reserve switch battle it out, but you know, with this meeting, you know, Knudson's just not really been there. Cameron Heaps is unbeaten so far, and Bowden from his one ride got a paid second place with Trigger high off confidence beating Scott Nichols. So, you know, suddenly the more experienced Redcar rider in this race is the lowest scorer. So heat number 8, lining up in blue off the inside, the reserve switch Ashton Bowden, Ben Trigger goes off gate 2 in yellow, Cameron Heaps goes off gate 3 in red, and Jonas Knudsen goes off the outside in white. Of course, no tactical substitute in heat 8, protected race.
Yes, that is very, very true. I could see a tactical in heat 9. Using my not very good managerial brain, let's say. Yeah, Start Marshall. He wants that steak and chips from the cafe. He's trying to get the riders into the line now. He does just that. He walks away. Riders look at the tapes and the tapes go up. It's a great start yet again from Cameron Heaps and Jonas Knudsen now going round the outside, and it's Knudsen now that has the lead. I believe that's Knudsen anyway. He red helmet colour there. Cameron Heaps sitting in second place with Astra Bowden in the third place position. And it's a great ride actually from Jonas Knudsen, and it is Knudsen that's out in front. And Trigger struggling a little bit at the rear of the field in this one, but it is still under immense pressure from Cameron Heaps, so as they go into lap 3, and Bowden now looking to have a nibble up the inside. So what can Jonas Knudsen do? Is Bowden goes up the inside there for Jonas Knudsen, and now Cameron Heaps looking to go around the outside. Can Cameron Heaps to a Oxford 5-1 as we got 1 lap left then to go. Bowden is the ride, has the lead. Knudsen going a little bit wide there and just about keeps the second place. As now Cameron Heaps goes really, really wide on the final bends. And it's going to be a win for Ashton Bowden. Cameron Heaps has done him.
What a ride there from the Oxford duo. Cameron Heaps copying Henry Atkins' celebration with the boxing. Ashton Bowden riding like a rider ahead of his years there. You could see when he got the lead, he kept looking behind, trying to slow Knudsen down, and Heaps is on the outside. Very, very experienced ride from Ashton Bowden there. That's something you'd expect to see from a Sam Masters or a Scott Nichols, not a 16-year-old lad. And he was the catalyst for that second place for Heaps.
He was. That was a very good ride there from the young man.
Knudsen will be fuming with that. It looked like it was in the bag, and then Bowden up the inside. Heaps wound it on round the outside, and I bet Callum's pulling his hair out. So the result of Heat 8, it was a win for the rider in blue, Ashton Bowden, second in red, Cameron Heaps, and third in white, Jonas Knudsen. And that opens up the score to 29 points to the Cheetahs, 19 to the Bears. Let's see if there's tactical switch in heat number 9. We've now got 4 people watching at the moment, but no comments. Somebody please keep us company in the comments.
Please. We only bite if you bring us cake.
It was a really good game from Knudsen, actually.
Yeah, looking at the program, I do expect that Big Gav will be bringing his number 1 into the yellow helmet colour here to partner Michael Palm Toft. Especially with the Cheetahs having to make use of a rider replacement ride. But they could bring Ashton in, Luke, could bring Jason Garrard back in,
Heaps.
or so far maximum man Cameron Heaps.
And with there being a little bit of a delay, I wouldn't be surprised if it is Cameron Heaps taking the rider replacement. When's
Obviously,
Knudsen's
Jordan
next
Jen-
ride? Is that Heat 11? Who are they against?
That it is. Nichols and Bowden.
Yep, there's Charles
I
Wright
called
in
it.
yellow.
Charles Wright in the yellow helmet colour there.
Peter Schroep being interviewed, which would suggest that Cameron Heaps is going back to back.
I'll just update that bit on the programme.
And as Dan mentioned earlier, the plan is to cover Ipswich versus Birmingham tomorrow night, all being well. The forecast's a little bit hit and miss at the moment, but as things stand, that meeting is on. And if it's on, we'll be covering it, and hopefully the old internet and streaming service plays ball a little bit more than it has tonight.
I just want to say a good evening to Andy Dugmore, who's popped a comment in the chat. We hope you are doing well, pal, and keeping Dylan really busy with BSSC work.
Absolutely not. Ashton Bowden's going back-to-back rides here. So the lineup for heat number 9, going off the inside gate in blue, is Jordan Jenkins. Gate 2 in white, Michael Palmtoft. The ride replacement in red off gate 3 is Ashton Bowden, and a tactical substitute in yellow, Charles Wright, which means they're saving Cameron Heaps for heat number 13? 12?
12. Oh, but he was very close, so I'll give you that one. Let's all have a round of applause for Dylan. Well done, mate. So, Start Marshall trying to get these riders to come into line. He walks away, then the riders look at the tapes. Jenkins had quite a bit of a nibble there. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one pulled back, as it is the rider in white that's decently, but the rider in red there, Ashton Bowden, going a little bit wide on the back straight and coming around is 1 and 2. Now, is Ashton Bowden done enough to get the lead? It's still just at the minute Michael Palmtoft with the lead. Charles Wright's in third, but Palmtoft and Ashton Bowden have a right battle, and Bowden's got the better of Palmtoft now. Wow, nobody expected this from the young 16-year-old, and nobody expected to see Charles Wright struggling a little bit here, but Bowden, with a really impressive ride there, has the lead over the two Redcar boys. Yeah, a bit of a surprise there, but Jordan Jenkins struggling a little bit with what got one lap left to go. And Ashton Bowden riding like he's ridden 25 years, with an absolute class move there. And he's the one that goes round and takes the checkered flag in heat number 9.
Was Jenkins clutch slipping there, because he was moving just as the green light went on? So was his clutch slipping maybe?
It is very much a possibility.
This track seems to suit Bowden down to the ground tonight. Nice outside line, and that was a brave move to go around the outside of Palmtoft off bend 2. He literally couldn't have gone any wider, or he'd have been in Swindon. So the result of heat 9, it was a win for the rider in red, Ashton Bowden, second in white, Michael Palmtoft, and third in yellow, tactical substitute, Charles Wright. I think that'll go down as a wasted opportunity.
Yeah. You know, riders like Wrighty and Tofty, you do expect on them that sort of caliber of rider.
Let go of his clutch there. I think his clutch was slipping.
There is that. It did sort of look like he had a bit of a nibble. But yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting heat 10.
Very brave move there from Bowden.
Very.
And credit to Palmtoft as well. He was fair. He left just enough racing room. He didn't bomb him against the fence or anything.
Yeah, I think Callum's probably going to hate me now, but track looks a little bit similar to Redcar track a couple of weeks ago when Scunny went up there, and obviously Ashton Bowden was a match winner for us that meeting as a guest, and the track certainly suiting him this evening.
So on to heat number 10. Going off the inside gate in blue, still on a maximum so far, is Cameron Heaps. Gate 2 in yellow, Dan Thompson. Gate 3 in red, also on a maximum from 2 rides, Sam Masters. And off the outside in white is Connor Bailey. Andy Dugmore saying, I've got some work coming his way. I hope he's putting up some money up front.
Funny, what's that? This Speedway, we don't get money in this sport.
Seems to grow on trees these days. I did see on the news the other day that the UK is officially out of a recession, so that's a start.
Ow.
No idea.
But does this mean we can start like charging £1.40 for pints in the pubs again? Or are them days really, really long gone?
I reckon you'll pay about £1.40 for an empty pint glass in the pubs these days.
Heaps about to rise then on heat number 10, and just like that, they have risen. It's a good start for both the Oxford Cheetahs, but Dan Thompson looking to come up the inside there with the rider in blue, Cameron Heaps. And Sam Masters has the lead. It's going to be a big battle now for second, but Cameron Heaps, how wide does he have to go? If he went any wider, he'd have ended up in Burger King in the next city along. And Dan Thompson certainly not giving up, but it is Sam Masters that has the lead. Then Cameron Heaps in second, having a battle with Dan Thompson, but 2 Cheetahs boys at the front. Team riding this one to perfection. Connor Bailey having another disappointing meeting here. We've got to really start thinking, you know, how much longer will he last in the team? Because we've got 1 lap left to go then, and it's Masters that still has the lead, with Cameron Heaps following him in the second place, and these two just team riding this one to perfection as they come round bends 3 and 4 for the last time in this race, and it's a win for
I think Heaps took that.
Masters.
I think Cameron
Do we
Heaps
not
has
call
just
it-
taken that.
Call it a dead heat and give them 2.5 points each.
I think Cameron Heaps would have liked Sam Masters to look over his shoulder maybe a lap earlier than he did. They were both kind of going for the same line.
Yeah, the BSM footage believes Sam Masters got that one.
And the result of Heat 10, it was a win in red for Sam Masters. Second in blue, Cameron Heaps. Good attempt by Dan Thompson in third in yellow. Disappointingly out the back again, Connor Bailey. Could it be argued at the moment that the guests are putting up more fight than the original Redcar team?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think at Redcar at the minute, I don't quite know what it is, but everything just seems to be falling apart for the Bears, and you know, this isn't what we normally get from Redcar. You know, they're normally a team that they'll never give up. They're normally tipped for the playoffs, and you know, this Redcar team, you know, something's got to be happening behind the scenes, because I expect a bit better of them, and wonder where that man on the parachute there is going to land.
Word on the street is that's Gavin Parr getting out of Oxford. Interested to see Johnson keep his place here. Could have maybe been an argument to bring in Mulford or Trigger.
A quick update from Poole. They have had 9 races at Poole Stadium. Poole Pirates 38, Workington Comets 16. So that's a bit of a battering.
Richard Lawson on a maximum by any chance?
I couldn't tell you, I'm just looking at the Twitter.
Okay. What's Twitter? X now, innit?
Sorry, X. Yeah, you could tell I've not been. You could tell I've not been on name redacted street service for a while.
So the lineup for heat number 11, riding off the inside gate in white, is Charles Wright. Disappointing night by Wrighty standards. 5 paid 6 from 3 rides so far. Gate number 2 in red is Scott Nichols. Gate 3 in yellow, Jonas Knudsen. And off the outside in blue is Ashton Bowden.
Back straight, Ashton Bowden.
And they're on the back straight as we refreshed the stream, and it looks like the rider in red, I believe, Scott Nichols, is the rider that has the lead, and the race has come to an abrupt end, but Scott Nichols won that one. It's 40-26, so it must have been a 3-3.
So the result of heat number 11, no action there because internet. It was a win in red for Scott Nichols, second in white Charles Wright, and third in yellow Jonas Knudsen. Points divided, retains Oxford's 14-point lead, as I think we go into the interval.
Obviously we've got the replay. Oh bloody hell! I need to do the online program. I've done that for 2 races. I've kind of forgot that existed.
Shocking.
I know. I apologise for all of my sins and all that.
They need to put some water down now. You can barely see the racing through the dust.
Just like being at home.
But you didn't have this in Poland.
Can confirm we didn't. What we did have was 60-odd thousand people just chanting Smarzlik, Smarzlik, Smarzlik. The announcer putting massive emphasis on the Polish riders' first names, and hearing 60-odd thousand people shout the last names, it sent shivers down your spines. Probably a better atmosphere there than the 1,000 that's at Sandy Lane this evening.
Sent shivers down the spines? How many spines have you got?
One. But the knockout cup draw looks like is taking place.
We did have a graphic to flash up on the screen to go with this, but obviously with the issues tonight, I'm not going to be able to flash that up. Maybe Palmer can whack it out on our Facebook page after, just so that it's not a wasted work. So the Oxford Cheetahs will take on number 4, the Redcar Bears. Oh my! You couldn't write it, could you?
You couldn't write it. That's just exactly as I had it down on my graphic.
And then Berwick and or Scunthorpe will take on Poole.
The Poole Pirates. So the pressure's on the Scunthorpe boys to produce a repeat of the cup final from last year.
And we'll get Callum in a moment to get his instant reactions to facing Oxford in the Knockout Cup semi-finals. If Callum's not jumped out the window.
No, I'm still out.
Andy Duckball's come back and said just because we are out of a recession doesn't mean Speedway has any money in it.
I'll let Palmer run through this with you. I'll be back shortly. I love Ben Trigger's Kevlars. Hello, my name is Ben Trigger. What's a fella?
So obviously we've just been given the Knockout Cup semi-final draws, and Bears have been drawn against the Oxford Cheetahs. Obviously it's not looking great for the Redcar Bears tonight, but I feel as though in a few weeks when you make your return to Sandy Lane, things will be different.
I think obviously with obviously with Duke was struggling. I think this season, I think any draw was going to be a bit of a struggle because obviously you've got Poole, who are naturally one of the best teams in the league, Berwick, who beat us home and away just the weekend gone, and obviously you've came to our place twice and beat us twice. So it was always going to be difficult. I think out of the three of them, Oxford probably would be the team I would want, purely because they've not been on our track yet this season. We might be able to scrape a win against them this time around, but you never know. So yeah, obviously they were all going to be a difficult. It was all going to be a difficult draw, but I think Oxford probably is the better one to go for.
100%, and obviously, you know, hopefully, as I say, you guys' form could turn around, and you know, as you know, I've got a lot of time for the people up at Redcar, and you know, you guys deserve better, you expect better, and hopefully it will come.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, obviously, as like fans, like if they go, I think we've only seen one win at Redcar this season. That obviously came against Working and in the quarter final of the Knockout Cup. So yeah, naturally the fans will be frustrated. No one likes to see their team lose. I think it kind of showed on Friday because I think the attendance did look a bit less than it had done at the start of the season. But obviously, it's only May. There's still plenty of time There's still plenty of meetings left. The Redcar promotion hopefully have a rider or two up their sleeves that they're going to see if they can bring along, and it might help turn our fortunes around, or maybe something might just click for some of the struggling riders, and they might be able to get the ground running, and we don't actually need to make any changes. So there's still plenty of meetings to go. We just got to see what happens, I suppose.
And just a very quick one here, because it's probably quite controversial. I watched the Redcar We Ride yesterday on my train home, and having Pa mentioned that there was a certain rider that was nailed on to come to Redcar for this season, but ultimately turned them down at the very, very last minute, hence why he was on us. Do you have any form of clue who that rider could possibly have been?
Obviously, as a fan, you don't actually see who, you don't actually know what's going on in their minds. Obviously, you can look at what average Jorgensen was on and what was available at the time. So when you look at his average, I think it would kind of be quite obvious, I suppose. Because I think, like, I could be wrong. I think it could have been someone along the lines of Leon Flint, who's been at Redcar quite often as both as a youth rider, as a youth rider. He's been in British Under-21 finals. He's also been there as an opponent for Berwick, and also again, he's been a very helpful guest a couple of times last season. So it would have been good for him to be with us, but obviously I think he made the move to Glasgow, which is obviously a track he doesn't do very well at. And it's basically been a move that he's wanted to do to kind of better his career. He's wanted to kind of get to grips with a track he doesn't typically do very well in the hopes that it does make him a better rider. Obviously, these riders have ideas of where they want to go, so it's obviously ultimately up to them where they decide to ride with. Obviously, we can talk about riders that could have been with us, but it's obviously we've got the riders now, and we've just got to see what 7 we have and see how we get going with them 7.
Yeah, 100%. And to be fair, I think Dylan sort of exploited this a little bit, but it certainly seems like tonight it's more the guests are performing better than the beds. So, do you reckon there's things going on in the pits and that at Redcar as well?
Yeah, I think I agree with I do agree with Dylan. I think Dan Thompson and Michael Palmtoft have been obviously Dan Thompson got that third place just then, which he'll be a bit frustrated about, I'm sure. Michael Palmtoft as well. Wouldn't have expected Ashton Bowden to make the gate he did and put up the fight he did, so he'll again be frustrated. Obviously, Charles Wright is a home rider for Oxford, so it would have been. I would have expected a little bit more from him, but he's still scoring. He's still scoring okay. I think, as you say, like because obviously Redcar are losing, struggling so much, and they've lost so much. I think morale is naturally going to be quite low, which obviously doesn't help when you see fans slating them on Facebook channels and things like that. It's just, but ultimately they need to sort of see if they can do anything to help themselves improve and see if they can do anything that can help raise the morale in the camp to make it a better atmosphere, which can obviously help the riders improve individually as well.
Yeah, 100%. And Dylan, have you got any questions to add to that?
No. Honestly, I've got nothing. I think you've asked them all, and yeah, just as the track grading finishes up, I think now's a good time to thank Cal for giving his time to come on and give us his thoughts through the meeting. If we don't get a chance to speak to him after hit 15, hopefully we can get him back on again in a future one.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, obviously, I would have liked the result to be a little bit better than what it is, but it is what it is, I suppose. Obviously, Redcar have been struggling this season, and obviously, I think the fans obviously are naturally going to be expectant with how they've done the last few years, but at the same time,
the water truck's broke.
Oh dear,
The track's flooded. Water truck's knackered.
Call the meeting off. Oh, but then again, the result would stand anyway.
Oh my days, Hutty standing there trying not to get absolutely drowned. Oh my god.
Oh dear.
Quick, get the track grader out. Oh dear, oh dear. Just get your armbands out. All the
Do Oxford have anything like Scully did, where it like sucked the water?
I'm sure they could go down to Tesco's and get some straws.
Slurp it up.
I'm sure there'll be a sweeping brush nearby in a local retailer in Oxford.
I'd just get a tractor out and get it to turn over the track where the water is.
I'd just get the boys out there, it'd be fine.
Except if you're off gate 3 and then you're going to need armbands and a paddle.
Yeah.
Who's off gate 3 in heat 12?
Connor Bailey.
Yeah, write him in for a 0 and put drone next to his name or something.
I've already written 0 in.
Touching on heat 12, Cameron Heaps, as expected, goes in red. He'll be looking to round out his paid maximum here against Connor Bailey and Jake Morford. You'd have to say his odds-on favourite to complete his 5-ride paid maximum.
Yeah, 100%. Arguably for me so far, the rider of the night.
And it looks like they were getting ready to go racing again, but now they've tried to drown everybody. I think we're going to have a little bit of a longer delay. So Charles Wright is being interviewed by Steve Brandon.
Cameron Heaps' name in the RR thing.
At least Redcar have got nice merchandise this year. Not a fan of the Kevies, but they've got nice merch.
Yeah, I've still got that Redcar hoodie. It's just sat at the top of my wardrobe at the moment.
And like you've pointed out as well, it's unusual to see Redcar struggle because they are a team that you automatically put towards playoff positions and at least winning at home.
Yeah, I don't, as I say, I don't quite know what's happening with Redcar at the moment. I mean, obviously they've been unlucky at home twice against us. I think in the SN series meeting when Scunthorpe went. If Titus Chain hadn't have gone and he'd not withdrawn, I'm sure they would have turned us over in that one. And if things had got a bit different in the league meeting, they'd have won. So it's a shame to see Redcar struggling. And I can imagine a lot of their supporters are maybe thinking there's big changes needed. I think the Redcar Bears are definitely missing Danny King.
Yeah, because even though he's not started brilliantly on track, that experience can be tenfold. And at the moment, you've got an experienced number one in Charles Wright, but there's not a lot of experience with the rest of the team, really.
No.
So you can't beat the experience of Danny King and Wrighty, two British champions in the past.
Yeah, 100%. I've just been given an update from Pool. It is the Pool Pirates 47, the Workington Comets 19.
You were right about Joe Thompson being there. There he is on the old track, standing behind Dan. Feel a bit sorry for Joe. Released from Leicester for Sam Hagan. Showed glimpses of what he can do, just not quite showed it enough. Proved last night he can do it at championship level. Winning Heat 2 at Plymouth, but he's almost being overshadowed a little bit by Dan at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. Both boys are extremely talented. And I did feel quite bad for Joe last year as well, because obviously been messed around from club to club in the championship as what have done him much good.
And the other side of this, the interval as well, it's good to see all the young British lads having a laugh. You got Dan and Joe Thompson talking to Jordan Jenkins and Ashton Bowger, and Ben Trigger's just gone over. You've got all the up and coming crop of British riders all just standing there and having a laugh with each other, and that's what it's about, isn't it? Your opposition on track, but you're also friends, rivals, colleagues. You're all out there to make a living doing the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. It's almost like as well in the GPs. You look in the pits and be meeting all these riders that are riding for the world. The world championship, just all sitting having a chat with each other, and it's what we need to exploit that a bit, because it shows that Speedway is the friendly sport, and long may it continue.
Is that Jamie Swales?
Yes, it is. You could tell that because he's got sunglasses on his head.
And a coat on, even though it's looks very nice weather there.
I would imagine it's at least 14 degrees in Oxford.
Do you want to have a quick look on the old weather forecast for Ipswich tomorrow night, and we can
I'll get the old Met Office up.
Get a rough idea as to if we'll be live tomorrow. Met Office looked okay yesterday morning, and when I checked this morning, it was not giving me such good news.
Tomorrow there is light rain between the hours of 12 o'clock and 5 o'clock. 50% chance between 12, 1 and 2. It moves down to 40% chance at 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock being 30% chance. Then dry for the rest of the evening. So I personally think we'll be okay for tomorrow. Looking at that, but we'll see.
Also, at the moment, we have a light plan for Monday of a little chinwag debate, whatever you want to call it, with Alan involved as well. We'll go more in depth into the punishment handed out to Lee Compline, get Alan's thoughts as a Glasgow supporter and his team obviously being affected because there's no BSN meetings next week until Friday, where we're both unavailable, so there won't be a watch along. So we're going to be going at least a week without any content otherwise, and we just didn't want to do that.
I mean, I believe next Friday I can assure you I'll be watching that one. Is that Edinburgh Scunny?
Could very well be.
God, no, that's coming up at some point in May.
Andy saying in the comments, Big Boy wants a rain off at Ipswich tomorrow night. That's just because Big Boy's rider, who is mechanicking for Victor Lampard, now moves to number 6, which means a nice busy night for Big Boy if Victor's scoring well. Big Boy's always moaning though, because everyone loves a moan.
Especially in Speedway.
Back in a second.
Well, we're on. When Mr. Dillon does return, we will I'll mention obviously the big news that have come out from Birmingham last night. But we are still awaiting heat number 12 from Sandy Lane this evening. I'm just gonna hop on the old Twitter box or X box or whatever you wish to call it in this day and age. Oh, Pirates still 47-19. That's Paul outright. Winners of that meeting already, with like 2 or 3 races left to go. So the main man, Mr. Hodgetts, has returned, and as we was talking about Birmingham just before he had to go off there, big news from Birmingham coming out yesterday: no more Vaclav Milik, and in comes Justin Sedgman.
Yeah, I think it was probably 2 meetings too late. I think Milik's been on borrowed time for a while. You can almost forgive him struggling to adapt at number 1 when you drop to reserve and you only score 5 points at Bellevue from 6 rides, I think it was, and failed to score in the 1 ride he completed at Kings Lynn as well. I think a rider that's just been handed a wild card for the Czech Republic Grand Prix, and then he's scoring 0 against riders like Anders Rowe. With all due respect to Anders and Patrick Wojtolo, he should be beating those. It's long overdue, and they were paying a fair amount of money for his flights in and out of the country, and they weren't really getting a lot for their investment. So, and someone's dying. Is that Karen?
R.I.P. in pieces.
I think it was long overdue. Well, you know what you're going to get with Sedgwick. He's based in the UK, so he doesn't have to keep flying in and out. He started the season relatively well for Edinburgh, and obviously spent the last season and a half before this year at Birmingham as well. So he knows Perry Barr. I think it'll just steady the team a little bit. Moves Victor Lampard to reserve. Victor's a rider that you're either going to get everything or nothing from. There doesn't really seem to be an in between at the moment. But if he can settle down, he'll be a brilliant rider to have at number 6. And we are ready to go with heat number 12.
All that the track looks bone dry now.
pressure on Cameron Heaps here to round out to maximum. That'll be a fantastic performance for him if he manages that. A few people were maybe sleeping on Cameron Heaps a little bit before the season.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I can't say much because I was one of them. Andy Dugmore says, "Welcome back, Sedgy." Yeah, big race this.
Andy Dugmore's thrown out a very generous offer to Birmingham as well, which I won't repeat at the moment, but if they accept said offer, Andy Dugmore's thrown them a very generous offer. So the lineup for heat number 12, going off the inside gate in yellow, is Jake Mulford, impressive winner of heat 2, but hasn't replicated anything like that since. Ride replacement in red off gate 2 is Cameron Heaps on a 4 ride paid maximum at the moment. Gate 3 is Connor Bailey in white, and off the outside in blue is Luke Killeen. And looking at the scores for this, you've got to favour Oxford for a heat advantage at the very least here.
Yeah, 100%. You know, this is again no disrespect to Redcar. They've quite underperformed tonight. I expected this to be a lot closer than what it is. But the start marshal walks away, then riders look at the tapes. Away we go, and that's a decent start actually from gate 3, Connor Bailey. Maybe he heard that I'd put the 0 in the score chart, but Cameron Apes that has the lead done at the moment, and if he keeps this up, his paid maximum will be complete, providing he don't go in heat number 15. It is Connor Bailey sitting in second with Kit Mulford in third.
He's off.
Luke Collin. Carnage with Cameron Apes comes down, and is the red flags are out. The race has been stopped.
There? He just straightened up.
That could be a chain.
And he looks like
that
he's
could very well
well
be a chain.
Very much looks like he's hurt down there.
Yeah, it doesn't look nice. Yeah, it was either a chain or he hit that wet patch.
He just tried. That looks like a chain.
That's a chain.
He just sort of straightens up, and he was streaking out in front there as well. But yeah, very straightened up. I'd suggest that was a chain that went.
Slight update from Paul Pirates 49. Workington Comets 23.
Yeah, I think that was a chain.
Looking at the replay, that it looks like a chain.
I think he's just more frustrated with that one. He was streaking clear out in front and on for that paid maximum, and probably deserves it as well. He's been tremendous tonight.
Oh yeah, he's definitely been one of the riders of the meeting. So I'm assuming that he'll be excluded for that, which means go onto the spreadsheet and I'll take Connor Bailey's 0 out.
Will that be awarded? For me, Luke Killeen was never really in a position to challenge the two Redcar riders in front of him. So there could maybe be an argument to award that.
I mean,
the only thing
possibly,
is they're only on lap 2, so I don't think they can award on the second lap, can they?
I'm gonna say I know they're definitely.
Lap 3, so possibly.
I know they definitely never used to be the second lap looking award races, but actually no, I better not say what I was going to say. Otherwise, I may end up in trouble.
2 minutes he's back on. Looks like it's going to be rerun. Second bite at the cherry for Luke Killeen. Could there be an argument made by Redcar that, you know, the Redcar boys were on the second turn of the third lap after the crash? Maybe, but obviously we don't want to see awarded races.
Oh. Oh, excuse me, it's been a very long day doing the old scaffolding lark.
And after such a quick start to this meeting, bombing through the first 7 races, it's kind of been a little bit stop-start in the last few, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know it's a warm day. The track is quite dusty.
The stream's
you know,
given up on
you
life again.
You need to have regular water in. So we're back on with the stream after a technical difficulty. It looks, I believe, Luke Killeen has the lead there.
Well, we would know if it hadn't froze again.
Yeah. Internet.
It's had a bit of a Western Supermare tonight, isn't it? But that's Connor Bailey sat on the centre green, so it's 2-rider race.
2-rider, I should have left Connor Bailey's not in the programme. But it's the win for Luke Killeen and second for Jake Mulford.
And what could have potentially been awarded as a Redcar 5-1 turns out to be an Oxford 3-2. And that sums up Redcar's evening, to be honest, and Connor Bailey's evening as well.
At the moment, you could say that sums up Redcar's season so far.
Yeah.
You know, I think they are destined to have some form of changes, and you know, I believe that they need them changes, and they need them changes very, very soon.
And the result of heat number 12, it was a win for the rider in blue Luke Killeen and second in yellow Jake Mulford. Cameron Heaps disqualified and Connor Bailey retired. We watch a replay now. Connor Bailey made the gate. He was in the lead as
Yeah,
well.
100%.
Redcar tracked on a 5-1.
And obviously, Luke Killeen used his track knowledge there to get around Jake Mulford. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens. Looking at that, he's certainly pulling away from young Luke.
And his engine just gives up the ghost. And with there being 2 laps left, he couldn't have ran it round for a point because he'd have been lapped before the end of the 3rd lap. That does sum up Redcar's night. And you're probably
Just
right,
sums
their
up
season.
Redcar's. So far, it's hard to disagree. And now on our screens is a man talking into a microphone.
Line up for heat number 13, riding in red off the inside gate is Sam Masters. Charles Wright goes off gate 2 in white, Scotty Nichols gate 3 in blue, and Michael Palmtoft off the outside in yellow.
I wish Michael would smile in his photos.
Again, it's good to mention, obviously, if you want to watch this meeting, it is available to purchase as a one-off pass on replay on BSN's website or included in the monthly championship or season passes. For obvious reasons, we can't put commentary or action on the screen, but we do try and give our honest thoughts on it, and let people see, through what we're commentating on. Hopefully that they get the feel for the meeting.
Yeah, 100%. We don't want our backsides handed to us with a hefty copyright fine. So our voices will have to do for you, and we hope that they are good enough. At the start, Marshall walks away then for heat number 13. The riders drop the clutches as the tapes go off. Redcar don't gay, Oxford do. The story of Oxford season, and this is 5-1 to the Oxford Cheetahs. Written all over it before one lap's complete, and it's game over for the Redcar Bears. As they go into the second lap. Yeah, he is not a million miles off the Oxford boys, but Oxford boys have done enough laps around there to sort of know how to team ride, and you know it's very rare. Sam and Scott don't get a 5-1 in heat 13 around here. He's putting the pressure on, and you'd have expected a bit more from Wright. This being his Premiership home circuit, but it's just not the Redcar Bears night tonight.
And that was the perfect team ride from Sam Masters and Scotty Nichols there.
That it was. Was it? I believe that was Sam Masters that got that one.
Sam won that. Scotty second and Righty third.
And a little palm tree.
He's just saving his best for Friday night for the Scorpions.
Understandable. Well, he doesn't need to save his best for the Stars of Kings Lynn tomorrow now, does he?
Heat 13, the result. It was a win for the rider in red. Sam Masters continuing his paid maximum. Second in blue, Scott Nichols, and third in white, Charles Wright makes the progressive scores. Oxford 48, Redcar 29. It was all really done from the gate there, to be honest.
Yeah. Redcar didn't gate. Oxford did, and that was that, really.
And that was, the art of team riding from Scott and Sam there. Sam looking at the inside, Scott on the outside. Righty was there or thereabouts, but there was no way out the inside because Sam was there. And then when he switched to the outside, Scott brought it back down a little bit closer and just sat side by side with Sam for the 4 laps.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, as I've said, it's not been Redcar's night. It's not been Redcar's season, and yeah, Ashton Bowden rolling up to gate number 2.
So the lineup of heat number 14 going off the inside gate in white is Dan Thompson. Gate number 2 in blue, been a superstar tonight for the Cheetahs at reserve along with Luke Killeen, Ashton Bowden. Gate 3 in yellow, Ben Trigger, and off the outside in red is Jordan Jenkins.
Yeah, arguably you could say as well, Jordan's had a below par night as well with only 3+1.
Oxford will take confidence from, you expect big scores from Sam and Scotty, but barring that mechanical failure in Heat 12, Cameron Heaps would have had a paid maximum. Luke Killeen chipping in paid double figures, Ashton Bowden chipping in paid 8 up to this point as well.
That Marshall then walks away then for Heat 14, the penultimate race of the evening. It's a great start from Dan Thompson there.
Carnage.
We've got some carnage. And I believe that's Jordan Jenkins down on the deck.
That is Jordan Jenkins. I think he's implying that Trigger forced him down. For me there, JJ's just run out of track. I don't think Trigger's done anything wrong.
It was the second bend, so you can't even call it first bend bunching.
Jordan was stuck under the fence. Looks like he's a little bit knocked about there.
Yeah, we hope Jordan's gonna be okay. Good to see Chris Harris there helping him out as well.
Watch the replay. Brilliant gate from the Redcar boys. Trigger does go a little bit wide there, but Jenkins is still right behind him. For me, Trigger's in front. He's got his line. No contact there. I think Jenkins has got to go for that.
Yeah, looking at these pictures that we've got now, it is hard to see past JJ not being. It's hard to see past JJ not being excluded.
Yeah, I think Jenkins has got to go there. To be honest, it would be extremely harsh if Trigger's excluded, but Jenkins doesn't look in good shape at the moment, so hopefully he's okay. But yeah, I do think there should be the red disqualification light coming on there.
So, well, we've got a moment, just a little update from Poole. We've one race left to go. They've certainly secured the win, as the Poole Pirates are on 57 points to the Comets 27.
See, Trigger is going out wider, but he doesn't move off his line on bend 2. He's clearly in front, and Jenkins just runs out of track. Trigger's not moved any wider coming off 2. He moved wide on 1, but Jenkins was still on his line, and he was still on his bike. I think he's just run out of track.
I don't know, I don't know if his dirt deflect, just as Ben sort of straightens up there, I don't quite know if his dirt deflector gets his front wheel a little bit.
This is a worrying scene though for JJ. They've taken his boot off, so there could be a leg or an ankle injury.
Could be.
No, he's getting
This
up.
isn't. Oh, that's good. Good to see JJ back up and on his feet.
And you especially know Jordan Jenkins quite well. He wouldn't have stayed down unless unless there was something wrong.
Unless he was, yeah, if really hurt, he wouldn't have stayed down.
Greg Blair's getting an interview with Ben Trigger. Has Ben Trigger been disqualified? He's still got his helmet on at the moment. Doesn't look very happy.
Yeah. So the final score from Poole's just come through. Poole Pirates 61, Workington Comets 29, Poole second 61-29. Score of the season there. Richard Lawson 11-1, Tobias Thompson 7-2, Tom Brennan 13-1. Zach Cook 8-1, Ben Cook 9-1, Sam Hagan been a little star 12-1, Max Perry 1. For Workington, Craig Cook 1-1, Zisk 5, Antivulas 3, Klaus Fissing 4, Troy Batchelor 13, Spelina Liebman 2, Sam McGurk 1 and a bonus.
So it was Poole versus Troy Batchelor tonight.
Another big win for Poole. They're going to go unbeaten at home this season, I reckon.
I don't quite know what's happened. Obviously, we have to watch on mute for the copyright, so we couldn't hear that interview. Looking at Ben Trigger's body language, he didn't look overly impressed. JJ's working on his bike and putting his boot on. Has the ref called all 4 back?
Yeah, going to be very interesting to see what happens.
As soon as heat 15 is done, we'll bring the stream to a close. Obviously, with it dragging on a little bit, you've had a long day, so we'll call a halt to it. We'll run through the individual scorers straight after 15 and then close proceedings for tonight. And hopefully be on tomorrow night with the Ipswich and Brummies meeting.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it looks like the ref's put all 4 back. JJ's putting his helmet on. I think he's lucky there. I've got to say, I think he's been very fortunate there.
Is that Adam Roynan helping JJ out there as well?
Roynan pulling double duty tonight.
Well, he's turned up there. He may as well do something, hasn't he? as the old man comes back on the old telly box.
Steve Brandon.
In fact, I'm glad I've just clicked on the program for our electronic thing, because I haven't filled that out since Heat 11.
Has Ben Trigger been disqualified? Ben Trigger was walking off the track looking not very impressed there. Good stream, chap. Sandy Dugmore being ever so polite. No, it looks like it's all
What a
full
guy.
back.
Good evening, Mr. Jugmore. We're glad we can provide you with some entertainment on this Wednesday evening.
It's definitely Wednesday. So it is all full back. A run through the lineup. Dan Thompson goes off gate 1 in white. Ashton Bergen gate 2 in blue. Ben Trigger gate 3 in yellow. And Jordan Jenkins gate 4 in red. For a Redcar point of view, they'll be hoping they can make the gate like the initial staging.
Yeah, 100%. He's sort of. If somehow they can close this with 2-5-1s and get the score a little bit more respectable, I think they'd be reasonably happy with that.
Again, good to see Jenkins up and okay. Looked like a bit of an awkward one. Those slide offs are usually the ones that cause the awkward injuries. So yeah, good to see him up and about.
100%. As we wait for the Trigger to make his way into gate 3, then the start marshal walks away. Riders look at the tapes, and away we go. Don Thompson has made an absolute blinded start once again, and it looks like Ben Trigger's with him, but both the Oxford riders come up the inside of Ben Trigger, so it's now a 3-all with Dan Thompson having the lead, and Jordan Jenkins pushing Dan Thompson now for that first place. It's getting closer at the back between Ashton Bowden now and Ben Trigger. Trigger goes a little bit too wide, and Bowden pulls the throttle on and just gains that little bit more of an advantage. But Dan Thompson still has the lead, but Trigger all over the back of Ashton Bowden. Now, can Ben Trigger do anything on Ashton Bowden? He's just going a little bit too wide off the bends, I do believe. But Dan Thompson's pulling up one hell of a lead now over Jordan Jenkins and Ashton Bowden, as we've got one lap left to go, and barring mechanical failure, it's going to be a 3-all to the Redcar Bears and Oxford Cheetahs, because the points will be shared free to each team.
And the track just seems to have gone away from Ashton Bergen. He was flying when the line was out wide. Obviously, as it's moved back in towards the inside, not quite flying, so much now. Trigger was unlucky, made a really good gate. Jordan Jenkins came up the inside of him, and little handshake, I think, between JJ and Ben Trigger. The result of Heat 14 was a win for the rider in white, Dan Thompson. Second in red, Jordan Jenkins, and third in blue, Ashton Bowden. Just to wait for the lineups for Heat 15. Palmer, who would you put in? I think we know the Oxford pairing who will be probably Scotty and Sam, although personally an argument could probably be made for one of the reserves and Cameron Heaps maybe.
Yeah, looking at my programme, I would maybe personally go for Heaps and Killeen. It just gives them that little bit extra Heat 15 experience. The meeting's already won, and to me, them two have personally, they've earned their place in Heat 15.
For the Redcar Bears, it's hard to look past probably Charles Wright and Dan Thompson, I'd say.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that, to be honest.
JJ actually telling Bowden there, you can see the hand signals telling Ashton to ride on the inside, so very experienced ride from JJ, looking over his shoulder to protect the 3-all there.
Yeah, he's been decent.
I think you're probably right. Cameron Heaps and
Oh.
Killeen, I'd argue there's a case for, and I think the two Redcar boys stand out, Charles Wright and Dan Thompson. Could maybe make an argument for Michael Palm Toft and Dan Thompson, but I think Wrighty will want to go.
I do apologise there. I accidentally put the laptop on aeroplane mode for a moment. So, quick run down the individual scorers at the moment then. Oxford, Sam Masters 11-1, Cameron Heaps 9-3, Henry Atkins ride replacement hasn't scored. Thanks BSN, I'm going to have to do the adding up on my programme now. John Jenkins 5-1, Scott Nichols 8-2, Ashton Bowden 8-2, Luke Killeen 10, Jason Garrard 0. Charles Wright 3, 4, 5, 8-1. Jonas Knudsen 2-1. Connor Bailey 2. Dan Thompson 7. Michael Palmtoff 6. Jake Mulford 5. Ben Trigger 2 and a bonus. Old prediction here, but the meeting's kind of already lost for Redcar. Does Big Gavin Parr just give Jake Mulford his 4th ride in Heat 15?
Possibly. I think Charles Wright will want it, I think, and you can't, Dan Thompson gave everything tonight. I think he deserves the opportunity to earn another couple of quid in his pay packet for coming in.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Gavin Parr looks like a man who's fed up at the moment.
I mean, what I've been told, Redcar after the meetings there, they have a press conference in a bar, and Paul Gav was getting roasted by the Redcar supporters. So it's, I can't blame him for being fed up at this point. Andy Dugmore, I haven't forgot your top, Dan. I need to go to OK T-shirt to pick it up, along with the Brum stuff too. No problem, Andy, mate. No problem at all. Andy, my mate. Out to Sweet Caroline there.
Okay, can we just stop talking and get on with the racing, please? This has gone on long enough already.
Yeah, I agree. I'm ready for bed. I haven't had a nap today. And I've got a bar of chocolate to have for my pudding in the fridge.
Again, the plan is tomorrow night we'll be back with the Ipswich and Brummies meeting on BSN. If that goes ahead with the forecast, it's probably 50-50 at the moment. So the plan is for that. All the details will be on Facebook, but we'll be right where we are now again if it's on.
Yeah, 100%. Let me know if you need a graphic doing. I'll do one before I go to bed. As Mr. Dillon has popped off while the stream has gone off, so I will put my stream on and I'll just commentate from that until Finger gets back and Heat 15, and it's Righty in the white helmet colour that has the lead, and Dan Thompson looks like he's about to follow him home for a good place, but a move by the rider in red. I don't really quite tell who that is. I believe that's Sam Masters. I'm not sure, but it's Sam Masters, and in red is Scotty Nichols. I know Cameron Heaps him, but it's going to be a win. by the looks of things for Charles Wright with 1 lap left to go. Right, he's got the lead in this one. And yeah, it's gonna be a 4-2 by the looks of this as they come round for one last bend. Right, he wins it. Sam Masters second, Dan Thompson third.
That'll make Righty feel a bit better ending Sam's maximum on his home track. So the result of E15, it was a win for the rider in white Charles Wright, second in red Sam Masters, and third in yellow Dan Thompson. Brings us to a final score of the Oxford Cheetahs 53, the Redcar Bears 36. Palmer, do you want to quickly run us through the individual scorers before we sign off?
So Sam Masters 13 and 1. Cameron Eaps 9 and 3. Jordan Jenkins 5 and 1. Scott Nichols Forcer 8 and 2. Ashton Bowden 8 and 2. Luke Colleen 10. Jason Garrard 0. Charles Wright 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 1. Jonas Knudsen 2 and 1. Brad Bailey 2. Dan Thompson 8. Michael Palantoff 6. Jake Mulford 5. Ben Trigger 2 and a bonus. And that concludes this evening's action. I want to thank everybody that's joined us tonight on the live stream. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow for the Ipswich versus Birmingham meeting. And until tomorrow, have a very good evening.